A win is a win is a win, and the Indiana Fever without Caitlin Clark go up against the Las Vegas Aces and last year's MVP, A'ja Wilson. Sophie Cunningham has been on fire. You ever play NBA Jam? He's on fire. Sophie Cunningham has been on fire these last few games. Sophie Cunningham has proven to us.
Ladies and gentlemen, what I'm about to tell you will completely change how you see the Indiana Fever forever. Picture this: your biggest star, your franchise player, your golden ticket to relevance is sitting on the bench in street clothes, sidelined by injury. The critics are circling like vultures. Social media is ruthless, and you're about to face the back-to-back defending champions who smell blood in the water. This should have been a massacre. This should have been the moment that proved all the doubters right. But what happened next in Indianapolis was nothing short of basketball magic, and it's about to flip everything you thought you knew about this team completely upside down. Let me paint you the picture of just how dire things looked for the Indiana Fever walking into this game. Caitlin Clark, the rookie sensation who single-handedly put this franchise back on the map, was done. Groin injury, street clothes, watching from the sidelines like the rest of us. And this wasn't just any game where you could afford to rest your superstar. This was against the Las Vegas Aces, the team that has terrorized the WNBA for the past 2 years, collecting championships like they're going out of style. The Fever were coming off back-to-back devastating losses to the New York Liberty, dropping their record to a mediocre 12-12. The playoff picture was getting murkier by the day, and every single game from here on out was going to determine whether this Cinderella season would end in heartbreak or triumph. But here's where it gets really brutal. The narrative surrounding this team had become absolutely toxic. Critics weren't just questioning their playoff chances anymore. They were essentially saying that without Caitlin Clark, the Indiana Fever were nothing more than an ordinary, forgettable team masquerading as contenders. Social media was absolutely ruthless. Comment after comment, tweet after tweet, all saying the same thing: take away Clark and you're left with nothing special. The pressure was suffocating. Every possession mattered. Every shot was magnified. This wasn't just about winning a basketball game anymore. This was about proving that the Indiana Fever had an identity beyond one player, no matter how transcendent that player might be. And standing across from them, the Las Vegas Aces with their 12-11 record, looking like wounded champions, ready to prove they still belonged at the top of the mountain. This is a team that knows exactly how to smell blood in the water. They've been in pressure situations before. They've closed out playoff series. They've hoisted championship trophies. You know they circled this game on their calendar the moment they saw Caitlin Clark was going to be out. This was their statement opportunity, their chance to remind everyone that championship DNA doesn't just disappear overnight. A'ja Wilson was dealing with her own narrative battles, constantly hearing whispers about whether she deserved MVP consideration over Clark. What better way to silence those doubts than by dismantling Clark's team when she couldn't even suit up to defend them? The stage was set for what should have been a complete and total beatdown. But then something absolutely incredible started to unfold, and it all centered around a player who had been fighting her own demons all season long. Kelsey Mitchell had been living in basketball purgatory, talented enough to tantalize you with flashes of brilliance, but inconsistent enough to drive coaches and fans absolutely insane. She had developed a reputation for disappearing in the biggest moments, for letting pressure get to her when the lights burned brightest. And early in this game, it looked like we were about to witness more of the same old story. Mitchell came out ice cold, missing her first few shots, struggling to find any kind of rhythm whatsoever. Through 3 quarters, she was a brutal 4 for 19 from the field. The critics were practically writing their "I told you so" articles in real time. This was exactly what everyone expected. When the moment got too big, Mitchell would shrink. But here's where Stephanie White proved why she's one of the most underrated coaches in the league. During a crucial timeout, with the game hanging in the balance and Mitchell looking completely lost, White pulled her aside and delivered a message that would change everything. Let it fly. 2 simple words, but they carried the weight of unconditional trust, unwavering confidence in the kind of coaching that transforms careers. What happened next was like watching someone flip a switch inside Kelsey Mitchell's brain. Her teammates started setting harder screens, creating better positioning, giving her the space she needed to operate. And when those shots started falling, it was like watching a completely different player emerge from the shadows. The speed that had been working against her all game suddenly became her greatest weapon. She was getting to spots on the court that the Aces defenders couldn't even dream of reaching. The 4th quarter became the Kelsey Mitchell show, and it was absolutely beautiful to watch. 9 points in the final 12 minutes, shooting 4 of 5 from the field when it mattered most. This wasn't just about making shots anymore. This was about mental toughness, about rising to the occasion when your team needed you most, about proving that you belonged on this stage. When the final buzzer sounded, Mitchell had poured in 21 points and dished out 4 assists. But more importantly, she had demonstrated the kind of championship resolve that you simply cannot teach. But Mitchell wasn't carrying this this load alone, because while everyone was focused on how the Fever would replace Caitlin Clark's production, Sophie Cunningham was quietly putting together one of the most incredible hot streaks in recent WNBA memory. Coming into this game, Cunningham had reached double figures in 6 straight games, averaging an absolutely ridiculous 13.7 points, 4.7 rebounds, and 3 made three-pointers per game during that stretch. But here's the stat that will blow your mind. Over those last 6 games, Cunningham was shooting 58.1% from three-point range. Let me say that again, 58.1% from beyond the arc over a 6-game span. That's not sustainable, that's not normal, that's not even supposed to be possible at this level of basketball. But Sophie Cunningham was living in a completely different universe, where every shot looked good the moment it left her hands. Against the Aces, she continued her otherworldly shooting, going 3 of 4 from three-point range and finishing with 15 points that felt like they all came at exactly the right moments. Every time Las Vegas started to build momentum, every time it looked like they might make a run, there was Cunningham draining another clutch three-pointer and sucking the life right out of their championship aspirations. She wasn't just playing well, she was playing like a legitimate 6th Player of the Year candidate, transforming from role player to genuine weapon right before our eyes. But even with Mitchell and Cunningham playing out of their minds, this game came down to one heart-stopping moment that perfectly encapsulated what this victory meant for the Indiana Fever's identity. 35 seconds left on the clock. 5-point lead against the defending champions. This is when champions are supposed to make their move, when experience and playoff pedigree are supposed to take over. Enter Aari McDonald, a player who had every reason to be intimidated by the moment. The Aces were pushing, A'ja Wilson and company were bearing down, and the crowd could feel the momentum starting to shift. But instead of shrinking from the pressure, McDonald did something that will be replayed in Indiana Fever highlight reels for years to come. She pulled up for a step-back three-pointer that had absolutely no business going in, but swished through the net like it was meant to be there all along. That shot wasn't just about the points. It was about fearlessness, about a team that refused to be intimidated by reputation or championship pedigree. It was about proving that when you have each other's backs, when you trust your preparation and believe in your system, you can beat anybody on any given night. And we can't talk about this victory without giving massive credit to Natasha Howard, who provided the kind of steady, workmanlike performance that championship teams are built on. 18 points and 13 rebounds might not grab headlines the way explosive shooting performances do, but Howard's presence in the paint was absolutely crucial to everything the Fever accomplished. After the game, she perfectly summed up the team's philosophy. Defense drives our offense. It sounds simple, but that kind of defensive identity is what separates good teams from great ones. When the dust settled and the celebration died down, the implications of this victory became crystal clear. The Indiana Fever had just secured the season series tiebreaker against Las Vegas, taking 2 out of 3 games against the defending champions. Their record improved to 13-12, moving them into 6th place in the standings with serious playoff implications on the line. But the numbers only tell part of the story. What this game really proved was that the Indiana Fever have developed an identity that goes far beyond any individual player, no matter how talented that player might be. They showed they can beat elite competition without their superstar. They demonstrated the kind of depth and resilience that makes teams dangerous in playoff situations. They proved that when Caitlin Clark does return to full health, she'll be joining a squad that doesn't need her to win, which makes them infinitely more frightening as a championship contender. This is a team that's building something special, something sustainable, something that could make serious noise not just this season, but for years to come. The foundation is there, the chemistry is there, the belief is there, and when you combine all of that with the transcendent talent of a healthy Caitlin Clark, you're looking at a franchise that could be positioned for multiple championship runs. So there you have it. The night the Indiana Fever proved there's so much more than just one player, no matter how incredible that player might be. If this performance got you fired up about what this team can accomplish, drop Red Hot Sophie in the comments below, because that woman is absolutely unconscious from three-point range right now. Don't forget to smash that like button, hit subscribe, and turn on notifications, because we're going to be following this Fever Championship push every step of the way. Trust me, you don't want to miss what happens next in this incredible story.